Hello, hello. I'm Nadia Jordana, and you're watching Where Women Talk. My guest today is Lydia Emma Niebuhr, and she is an author being published through Fox Pointe Publishing. We are here today to meet her and learn about her journey as an author and find out what books of hers are going to be on the bookshelves very soon. Welcome to the show, Lydia.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this one.
I wanted to talk with you. You've got a brand new book out, just being published by Fox Pointe Publishing. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it's the third book in a series that is called a Cozy Mystery Series. I have a main character that's in all three of the books, because this new one is called The Badge. They're common characters that carry through the books, but each book is a read-alone book as well. There will be a fourth one, which I was editing just before I went on this program with you. But this is my first venture into adult cozy mystery kind of thing. My previous writing was for middle grade readers.
And you live on a farm, is that right?
That's correct.
Does that influence your writing at all? Or when you're writing, are you off in some other world?
Well, I have two writing areas. Okay, where we are now is what I call my winter writing space. We live in a split. I'm in the lower level, and this is my area with my books. Like I said, all my chemistry books. But as soon as it gets warm enough and I can tolerate being outside with a heater, I have a gazebo, which I call my writing center. It's up on the hill, just 30 feet from the house. It's not connected to the house. It's a 12-foot octagon, huge windows on all sides, except for where the door is. And I can see all around me when the farmers are in the field in spring and fall. There's a lot of wildlife, turkeys, coyotes, woodchucks, everything, squirrels, and those nasty little chipmunks that dig up my flowers. But it's perfect because it's bright. And down here sometimes it seems kind of dark because in this area of the split level there aren't any windows. This is sort of the family area, the way my in-laws designed this house when they built it. But I've been out to the gazebo once this year, but it's still kind of cold. It's like in the 30s here. When it gets to be 50, I have a heater I can take out there, and that's my favorite place to work. And I'm out there until it gets so cold that I'm afraid the water will freeze in my Keurig coffee machine. Then I come back in.
I'll bet that the different spaces do affect in some way the inspiration.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, like, I never, my past was a chemist. I retired as a chemist, food research, but I always wrote. As I traveled, projects would take me to different plants, and then you're in a hotel room and you're by yourself. And I wasn't one that wanted to go out and have dinner in a restaurant by myself. So I'd order in or take room service and sit and write. So I had a lot, when I retired, I had a lot of manuscripts that I'd written for middle grade. They were all saved on, I'll tell you how old they are. They're all saved on floppy disks. And fortunately, I had printed them all out on my dot matrix printer, so I had hard copies. So when I retired, I pulled them all out and then retyped them, and I put them up on Amazon to begin with, self-published them on Amazon. So I have 11 of them out there that I got out there for middle grade readers. And they're one of the things that I promote with my books is that there's, for especially middle grade readers, there's no bad language and there's no violence. There might be some pushing and shoving and stuff like that, and potential danger, but it's with characters that are 10, 12 years in range. And I wanted to show that I wanted a fun book. I can't write fantasy. I'm not I never read fantasy, and I just can't write that. But I do like the humor. I've got some of them that have humor. I have a book called The Tale of a Seventh Grade Dog, and it's not about a dog at all. It's about a young man, based on my own son's experience. The young man got angry at a play tryout and growled, and they cast him as the dog. And so he had to learn how to growl. Anyway, it's a fun book. I like kids to enjoy what they're reading. I know that right now that most of even my grandsons all are reading fantasy, and I have a grandson who actually wrote a book for Fox now and just come out. I have to plug him too. So yeah, and so but it's me. I write what I would like to read, which is fun things. The mystery thing. I think Fox Pointe kind of shook their head maybe when I told them I've never had any formal training like MFA programs or English programs or anything like that. My mentor was late night TV, the show Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, that's wonderful stuff.
But in an hour's time, you have to get background, you have to get the crime, you have to get something on the perpetrator, and you have to solve it. And I learned how to drop clues into stories from her. Now, my newest mentor, because we've been watching a lot of BritBox TV on our satellite, through our satellite, is Anne Cleves. I watched all of her shows, and I've got my Christmas present was an 8-book set of Anne Cleves novels. So yeah, she's my new mentor.
Oh, what a wonderful mentor. And you've got, I think you've got the new book coming out through Fox Pointe and 2 others that are being republished. Is that correct?
Yes. This one, The Badge, is the newest one. It's the 3rd in the series. This one has been strictly them through Fox. And the first one in that series was The Sand Dancer. This is the one that we republished. And I have to say, Fox was very good. They got me a very good editor, but the editor was warned that I was coming out of a scientific background, which meant that I didn't put as much, maybe not as enough conversation, not enough background, not enough fluff, maybe whatever. But that was the first one. And this one was also republished by them. It's called The Hitchhiker. And so I got better with that one. And I think with The Badge, we got better, and hopefully the next one. But the one book that I'm really proud of that I wrote is this one. It's called Under the Daytime Moon. And this is by Fox too, which is republished. I live in Minnesota, and where I grew up was just 20 miles from where the Minnesota-Dakota conflict was of 1862. And I'd always had interest in that. So I wrote this book from the perspective of 2 young girls, immigrant girl who moves into the area and a Dakota girl who lives there. And that they meet at the age of 12. It's their life up to the conflict when they're about 18, and then through the conflict and then a little bit beyond. And it's a lot of Minnesota history. And it's more than dwelling on them too much individually. It's a lot of Minnesota history. And because my husband is a retired history professor, I know that the Minnesota history is correct in his. But this book is a different format than any other I've written. I don't know if you can see this, but it's written as journal entries. So,
okay.
So the immigrant girl, Sarah, and the Dakota girl, New Moon, would write in their journals or write up what they perceive as an event from 2 different perspectives. Whether
that
it's
sounds fascinating.
I really enjoyed writing that book, and right now that's my favorite one that I've published of all of them. But as long as I got one more to show you. this was way out of my line, I think. I had this one I wrote for, I don't remember who, maybe one of my nephews when he was little or something, but it's called I Am Perfect. And I don't know if you can see the characters on there, they're all different. And what it does, it goes through and says, no matter if you don't look like everybody else, you don't act like everybody else, there's nothing wrong with you. You can be different. You're perfect. So it's kind of a feel good. That's all of these are by Fox. So they've helped me a lot with going on with my writing career. I have to give them a lot of credit for that.
Oh, that's great. And I like a lot of the books that they put out. So that's really exciting. And I'm wondering what kind of public appearances or events are you going to be doing coming up and throughout the summer?
I don't know so much this summer. Part of it because we've got a lot of things planned this summer. My husband and I, we live on what is considered the family farm, his family farm. So every year in July, we have, the family all gets together here, celebrates one day. And in August, my family's going to come, and both of them, and in conjunction, we're planning a party for Dean and I are going to celebrate our 50th wedding anniversary this summer. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So we're now getting, our 3 children that, you got to coordinate like a year in advance so they can all come on the same day. so I was working on some of that with my son this morning, but yeah, we're we're kind of tied up with that. But I do have in our county, in Niebauhr County, Minnesota, we have a annual fair. And I'm in a writers group, and we've decided to present our books there. We bought a booth, and we're going to sell there. That's the big one for August. I think I'm going to go back to Deep Valley Book Festival in Mankato in October.
In October, I'll probably see you there.
Good. Yeah, I was just up at Rosemount a week ago Saturday.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, that was, it was fun. I went with 2 of the people that are in my writers group, and it was good. It was, I'm hoping that the county fair venue would be, will attract. There's always kids there. They're all going, maybe all at the Midway, but there'll be children there that could maybe influence their parents to buy books.
And I'm wondering a little bit, you do quite a wide variety of books. Where do your ideas come from, and how do you decide which genre you'll be writing in today?
Well, I think I approach some of the writing backwards, because a lot of times I'll read something and it sounds like, well, that is really a snappy title. I wonder what I can write to match that. That's with a lot of the juvenile ones. That's the way it was. But a lot of those, the middle grade ones, it's approaching. Boys start noticing girls. All of a sudden they got a comb in their pocket. The boys have a comb in their pocket. They got, and it's a lot of interaction between boys and girls at that age. And one of them is based on a little bit of bullying. One of them is a boy has to get used to a stepfather, things that kids that age might face. Just, thinking your parents are going to get divorced. What do you do, kind of thing. And it's kind of, again, you can live through it, you can work through it, kind of thing. I think that's what I'm trying to get across with some of these books.
I think that's fantastic. And we're just about out of time, but I think we've given the audience a peek into your books and who you are as an author. Any final words of advice for someone else who might be interested in writing books?
I do have, every once in a while, been asked to do work with a school, and they want to know, how do you start writing? And I give them 2 options. You can make an outline, like they always tell you, outline. Like, I don't do that. I do what they call a spider graph kind of thing. I put my main character in the center, or my main topic in the center, and then in satellites around saying, okay, who's the man that's going to affect this, or what's the situation, and draw lines. And then maybe sometimes this line's got to go all the way around, but you start connecting your ideas that way. That's the only way I can do it. I'm not a formal, list kind of thing like that.
A spider graph. How fascinating. I have never heard that before. That's brand new. is that something you invented yourself, or is that if I looked it up on the internet, is it there?
I don't really know how I came onto that, but it was a lot of times, well, we don't travel a lot, but we do have a daughter that lives in Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and that's an 8-hour drive. And I have a lap desk, and so I just can't just sit there and watch. I mean, I know the scenery. We've been there, going there so often. So I have a tablet, and I write down ideas. I have like maybe 3 or 4 books that I've got outlined, and then they're adult. If you were asking what I'm doing next, I'll probably try to do another, but I think I'm going to switch so that I have a new main character. This time, I think instead of having the main character being a young man, it may be a young lady. And I might, because I don't want to get bumped up with all this COVID stuff, I'm going to do the time frame maybe back to the 70s and 80s. So
that sounds fascinating. Well, you're just a delight. I can't wait to meet you in person, probably in October. Thank you very much, Lydia.
Thank you for arranging this interview. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
And thank you everyone else for watching us today. We'll see you next time on Where Women Talk.